Okay, I mean, when I did the locum for Paul Polanyi, I just thought the whole thing was completely fascinating, and I was sort of caught hook, line and sinker. And I thought it was a wonderful sort of combination of really interesting intellectual puzzles and the ability to talk to patients and to look after families and so on. So it was a wonderful combination of things, and I really wanted to do it then. And the problem was I couldn't, because I hadn't got membership exam yet. So I had to go back to paediatrics. I did paediatrics as a registrar in Chase Farm Hospital for 2 or 3 years, and then got my membership exam. And then I went back to do a research job with at Guy's again. And I worked also at the Hammersmith Hospital on Duchenne muscular dystrophy with Professor Dubowitz, and did my thesis there. And of course the exciting thing at that time was that suddenly people were finding the gene that caused Duchenne dystrophy, and when it was mutated. And then we were able to look at the different mutations and the different degrees of disease which are caused by the different mutations, and that became very fascinating. And also the ability to use the new molecular tests in order to help the families, offer them prenatal tests, and it was a great help to the families to have this extra ability to test for carriers and so on. So that was very exciting, and it was a very exciting moment. So after that I went back to work as a registrar at Guy's, clinical registrar, and then went as a consultant to Cambridge. And at that time cancer genetics was just sort of waking up. People were becoming aware that family history was associated with your risk of cancer, and that you could correlate the degree of family history of cancer of certain types with the degree of risk, and start working out the sorts of people that required to be screened for certain cancers. And also, of course, the genes for the conditions causing these strong predispositions were beginning to be located at any rate. And I became very interested in cancer genetics, partly because I felt that it was more useful in a sense than perhaps some of the other genetics that I'd been doing in terms of potentially saving lives or preventing problems. And so at that time I was working with Eamon Maher, who was a bright new registrar and who turned out of course to be a very excellent professor now, and we wrote the book called A Practical Guide to Human Cancer Genetics, which I think was pretty much the first sort of handbook of cancer genetics for clinicians and clinical geneticists about cancer genetics. So I felt that was important to me, to being able to sort of help pioneer this aspect of clinical genetics. So I came back to London to work at Guy's as a consultant then, but more on the academic side. So I was also research associated, and I was very fortunate to have grant money arranged via Sir Walter Bodmer, who was very supportive during those years, and provided me with funding for a series of research registrars who came and did various different projects, but it was all in this sort of area of translational cancer genetics. So quite a lot of it was molecular work, not all of it, and then we became able to sort of translate the molecular work into a service for the patients, and vice versa. Sometimes the patients provided the most important things that we needed for the research, so it was a very important area to be in the middle of. And so I sort of did that as part of my work as an academic at Guy's. And then, but I was also running the South East Thames Regional Genetics Service. So when I went to St George's in 2003 to personal chair of cancer genetics, I of course took over the South West Thames Regional Genetic Service to run, and so that went on for about 10 years or so, until I sort of partly retired in order to be able to spend more time in Namibia when we started going there.